Last year I bought this Rage 5 saw for workshop number 2. I reviewed it back in October. I said I thought that the stock blade was cutting a bit rough. I've only cut a few boards with this, although some of them have been reclaimed timbers or laminate flooring. So on my first visit to the workshop this year, I brought a couple of new saw blades in the shape of a twin pack from Saxton Blade. This twin blade pack consists of an 80mm and a 40mm tooth blade, and also, bizarrely, an husband birthday card, as well as an advert sheet for their other products. It turned out that my wife had slid the birthday card into the packaging for safe transit, but I admit I was a little bit puzzled at first. Both blades come packed in a plastic bag with a plastic trim around the teeth just to protect them. Okay, so let's test the already installed Evolution blade. For each blade I will conduct a rip cut and a cross cut, and for the rip cut I will use a feather board. This piece of timber is from my local wood shop in the UK. Yes, I take wood on holiday with me. Every time I make a cut I will mark which blade made which cut. For the cross cut I will use a sliding table, and will use an identical piece of timber. Okay, so there's a small bit of breakout here. Now to swap the Evolution blade for the 42 Saxton Blade, remembering to disconnect the electricity before removing the blade. Of course, the tools are stored on the side. Ideally the 42 should be for rip cuts, and I have a lot of rips to perform in a future video, so it will be useful to see how this blade performs. Seeing I had the crosscut fence already installed, I did the crosscut before the rip cut in this test. Even though this blade isn't aimed at cross-cutting, with the blade being brand new, it actually did a really good job. Compared to the old Evolution blade, there was very little breakout. Now for the rip cut. It was a nice clean cut, but I have to say it's probably not as clean as the Freud blade I have in my DeWalt in the small loft. They don't make the Freuds for the 25mm arbor that the Evolution saw has. I could use a ring, but it's not advisable. Now let's give the 82 a run out. Now hands up if you've ever dropped the nut inside the cowl of the saw. It's a real pain to get out. I could disassemble the cowl or turn the machine upside down and give it a good rattling, or I can hook a dug with a piece of wire. There's a little blighter. Chat shows constantly discuss what these tool holders are for at the end of the saw. I use mine for my wire. Okay, back to mounting the blade. As you would expect, the 80 tooth is much more smoother than the 40 tooth, although I'd still like to compare it to my Freud blade. The crosscut, which this blade is aimed at, is exceptionally smooth, although not much smoother than the 40 tooth. For the crosscut, you're definitely going to pick the 80 tooth. As for the rip cuts, the old Evolution blade is definitely the worst, although it has many characteristics of being able to cut steel and metals and nails. But I do need to caveat this that I have used it before. I've no issue with the 40 tooth, it's a great rip cut, and when I'm ripping planks I will put this in the machine. The 80 tooth is nice and smooth and is my favourite blade, and this will probably stay in the machine for general day-to-day joinery. As far as curve thickness goes, both Saxton blades are slightly thicker than the Evolution blade, so if you're trying to maximise your stock, then the Evolution is worth considering. And finally, on another day, I was cutting some plywood. This is with the 80 tooth in. It was a very nice cut. Plywood is always a little bit splintery. And not that it should make too much difference, but I just cross-cutted a piece as well, although the grain patterns are quite the same. And again, it was a very good cut. And that was it. For £32, I'm happy with this twin pack. It provides me with options and also the chance to improve the quality of my cuts. It's time to put the saw back to bed. You may enjoy my other videos on the Evolution saw here.